DCM works. 4 microphones and lots of foam.
It was probably a song that reminded me of it, or I'd done an Arnold Schwarzenegger voice.
Writing is definitely an isolating thing.
From an outside perspective, that's weird as
It makes
fuck.
us look really mental.
But that is...
Because of what it kind of said about art.
I had fun in bits. There were fun bits.
We went and bought a value pack of straps.
Oh my god, we did. There is a big lesson here to learn about storytelling. Hey guys, welcome back to the Arthritis Podcast.
Hello. I'm sorry.
Official podcast of digital and creative media works. My name is David DCM, creative director, lead writer, and I'm joined as always by Ben, my co-host.
I should have like held the burp in for the fuck. Hi.
Hi. This week, Ben, we're talking about the storytelling of Sherlock season 4.
Yeah.
Boy,
I was waiting for the homes, but I realized it's just called Sherlock.
So I want to start easy.
I
I want to just ease into it and usually
Sure.
talk about how your experience with
My
the
context,
show
yeah.
before the
Before
fury
you get
consumes me
angry.
and it's just 20 minutes of me yelling.
Yeah, so I've never watched Sherlock before. I avoided it mainly because of Super Wholock.
I'm sorry.
The supernatural Doctor Who Sherlock people.
Oh.
There's like a fandom
Okay.
of like 3 shows.
Oh,
You don't know Super Wholock?
dude,
This is weird.
this is me and the
It's
internet.
like a
remember?
Tumblr thing.
Sure.
But like I always had the
And
opinion.
you're surprised I don't know it?
You have a Tumblr.
I don't do the
Um,
Tumblr though. I just
I-
tumble. You know what I mean?
I always just had this opinion that was like, for me, Sherlock was on the same level of Doctor Who, where I was like, I'll watch it at some point, but I don't really care.
Yeah.
And then you were like, we're doing it, and I was like, whatever. So
You're like, there's 4 seasons in a week.
yeah, and I was like, I can do that, and I was like, oh, an episode's an hour and a half long.
Fuck.
It's like watching a film.
Mhm.
So I blasted through it all in about a week,
Mhm.
including all of the new stuff. And I mean, I like Sherlock now,
Isn't
but
it? Isn't it?
I liked the first
In the
2.5 seasons
it?
of it.
Isn't it one of those things where once you've watched the most recent season, you're like, man, I really like the first 2.
Yeah,
I've actually gone back and watched the first. I just rewatched the first episode because I was like, man, I wonder if I would still like it if I go back. Turns out, yes.
Yeah, it's really cool.
It's really cool and good.
And I think that's the thing, the weird sort of transition I had where I didn't have to I didn't start off with the first season and be like, oh, this was really good, I can't wait for the next one. And then season 2 is also pretty cool. And oh my god, cliffhanger. And then season 3, be like, oh, it's okay.
You're like,
they're just
oh.
taking a different direction.
And you're like, oh, he killed someone.
They're just they added a new main character. They're just going a different direction. And then season 4, you're like, all right, spoiler alerts, I guess. Straight off the bat.
As always, if it's an episode title,
yeah.
then spoil the thing.
And then they're like, oh, okay, they killed the interesting one.
Yep.
And Moriarty's back, but not really.
Was that the only one that didn't buy Mary as? So I bought Mary as being a spy before I saw her in a balaclava doing spy stuff.
I
The minute I saw her in that, I was like, I don't believe it. But when she was like, yeah, I was a spy and a secret, I was like, yeah, because she could have been a secret operative undercover. But the minute she was in a balaclava with a machine gun, I was like,
I was like,
nah,
nah,
doesn't make sense.
you wouldn't look like the same.
She would be
either.
if she was a spy living in London doing dead drops and assassinations, maybe, but not with a machine gun.
in a balaclava with in a
Fuck.
squad doing
What the
fucking
fuck?
dropping through the skylight.
Okay,
Yeah.
I don't want to get. Okay, let's rewind.
How are we gonna do this? Sequentially.
Here's what we're
1,
gonna
2,
do.
3. Are
Yeah.
we gonna include
Wait,
the special? It
No,
sucked.
because I didn't watch it and it doesn't count.
Okay.
So what we're gonna do is we're gonna go episode by episode until my rage consumes me and I just start
and then
ranting.
you just start. Ugh.
So hold me back,
Conglomerate.
bro.
Yeah,
if
okay.
it gets, you know what I mean.
All right.
Okay, so episode 1.
Episode 1 was
Now,
the revelation.
Here's the problem: is us gonna be trying to remember the episodes because they are not that memorable in season 4. So the first episode
No,
is
I
with
think,
the.
I think each episode has a very distinct thing that happens.
Now
I
the-
forget what happens in
Well,
episode 1.
the best bit of episode 1 is that that's when Mary dies at the
That's
end.
when Mary dies at the end.
So the best bit about episode 1 was
Episode 1 is all of the Agra stuff.
yeah.
Yeah.
So Sherlock comes home.
I hated that episode.
He comes back and they were good. There was good stuff the little mysteries in it were awesome. Wait, where Sherlock goes and investigates the kid in the car, and he works out how that happened.
Yeah.
that was cool. That was a good mystery because what happened was.
Because that was the first season.
Well, it was
Where he
the
just
first
solves
season
a
where it was a
mystery.
contained mystery, but
Yeah.
and the reason those mysteries work, and I'll come back to this when we talk about episode 2. The reason that mystery worked is that they give you all the information. This is how a good detective story works. all the information is there, seated.
Yeah.
And what happens is it takes the detective a while to start to put them together. And as they do, you're like, oh, of course, it's surprising and inevitable that was
Yeah.
the conclusion, right? That's a great story.
It's also just like there's nothing like I like that mini mystery because it's like the kid just died. He just had a brain aneurysm.
Yeah.
And you're like, well, that sucks. That sucks.
And even the way it tied to the grander story, whether it had the bust of
The bust,
cat,
yeah.
Even I was fine with that. 'Cause
Yeah, I was okay with that.
And I was like, cool, great. Because it was like a throwback
good
to season
segue.
1 where there was an investigation happening.
And
it
he would
turned out
find,
that
like,
it was
a clue,
maybe,
yeah.
like, there was a thread of Moriarty in it. And
Yeah.
we were like, oh, you know what I mean? And that's cool. I like that. And then, what you've got in, the rest of episode 1 is basically like, okay, now it's about Mary.
Yeah.
Which, it's fine. She's
It's
interesting
okay.
enough.
Yeah, she's cool.
But the minute, as I said, the minute that we saw that scene where she was, doing the command, my disbelief, and this is saying a lot for this show, because it does,
It does go
'cause-
ham as
but
fuck.
even like visually, it does stuff that is impossible, and you're fine with it because it's beautiful and it's stylized and
Yeah.
it makes sense in that world. But that moment, I was completely pulled out. I was like, I do not believe this scene that's happening in front of me. I can't buy into it. And like at one point, I was like, I'm not even interested in it.
yeah,
like-
no, I couldn't care less about her past.
The fact, like, we established in season 3 that her future is more interesting.
Yeah.
So don't dwell on the past.
Yeah, I think that was the big thing is you had the big in season 3 when you had John basically saying, because like let's be honest, it's John's story. At least towards the end, it's John's story. Because
Which is fine.
he's the normal dude surrounded by the psychos.
Yeah, by the fucking insane
By the fucking
people.
weird people. And like, it was cool when he was like, I don't care about your past. I only care about the future. You're like, cool, we don't have to deal with all that stuff.
move
And you
right
can just,
along.
you can just throw in the lines, like the funny lines where Sherlock is just like, your wife is an assassin. And you're like, you don't actually know. Like, he may be lying, he may
Yeah.
be exaggerating.
And it's fun.
And it's funny. It's like, keep us in that disbelief. But then they're like, she's a mercenary, secret operative, and code
It's like,
words. And
what?
you're like, I could not care less.
You know what was great? Okay. Oh, boy. Okay, I'm trying not to get mad, but like, the episode is about Mary, and then at the end, when she dies, my only thought was, why did we bother learning about her backstory then? If they were just gonna kill her.
That's the weird thing, because
You know
I
what I
was,
mean?
I was like, it was a
was
weird
the
sort of
fucking
like
point?
reverse build where, like, sort of halfway through the episode when she was in this situation when you're thinking like, oh, she could die here. Like when the guy who's trying to kill her comes in, AJ,
Yeah.
you're like, oh, like she could die here, and then she gets out scot-free, and you're like, okay, cool, she's going to live.
Like, she's invincible.
She's been given the plot armor. And like, oh, wow, we played you good because you thought she was safe. And then we killed her, and it's like, yeah, but you gave us this precedent. Like, you gave us this idea that, like, you care about this character. And, like, to be fair, they weirdly keep her in the story.
Okay.
Look,
Here
I
we-
don't...
Look, okay.
Episode 2.
Yeah, okay. Well, I think is that a good transition?
Yeah.
You happy? Okay, so let me just say this. She dies at the end of episode 1,
Yeah.
and John thinks it's Sherlock's fault because it is Sherlock's fault.
Yeah,
And then in
it
episode
is.
3, when he's like, it wasn't your fault. No, it was his fault. He egged on the woman with the gun until she shot
Yeah.
because he needed to prove that she was guilty. And then Mary stepped in the way, even though Sherlock was about to move out of the way anyway.
Yeah.
So it was Sherlock's fault that she got
Even
killed.
though Sherlock would have just done the same thing he did last time he got shot.
Yes. So let's just
AKA lived.
Yeah. through his brain.
Yeah.
Let's just remind ourselves that it was Sherlock's fault
Sure.
and the bullshit resolution and that the friends later was complete bullshit.
Right.
So episode 2 I liked for a handful of reasons.
Episode 2 was my favorite in this season. Which isn't saying
It was my
much.
favorite visually. The premise was my favorite, and the execution was shoddy at best.
So what happened?
So episode 2 is when you've got this creepy, charismatic.
Oh
figure in the spotlight
yeah, the
who
serial
is-
killer.
who's a serial killer.
Yeah.
But he doesn't fit the prototype, and it's
and you
interesting.
have Sherlock going down the downward spiral of drugs,
Yep.
and you have all this cool like what is it sort of unreliable narrator stuff.
Yep.
Where you're like,
Oh,
oh, you don't know if he's true. Like,
The-
you don't
this-
know what's real and all this
Dude,
interesting
And
stuff.
the way that they film it and frame everything, where you at the time you get it in the back of your head, you're like, maybe he is. Maybe there
he
isn't
is
anyone with
lo-
her. And
yeah,
you're like,
maybe
what?
he's losing
And then
his
later
shit.
on, you're like, no, there's definitely someone there. But then you're like, but maybe there was.
yeah,
and the way that
like
they did that,
the
the
footage
push and
from
pull
the
of that.
yeah, there's all this stuff that you're like, you don't know who to trust.
And the reason that works, and I'll say this like 1,000 times if I have to, the reason that works is that all of the information is in front of you.
yeah,
And the cool mystery, the central mystery you're left with of that episode is, who was the girl that was with him.
Yeah.
Now that's an interesting mystery. You know what's not an interesting answer?
It's his sister.
The sister we didn't know he had.
Yeah.
That's not interesting. You
No.
know what? You know why season 1 and 2 were awesome? It's because it was like, who the fuck is Moriarty? That's a great mystery. What's he doing? What's his motive? How does he know Sherlock? How does he know so much about Sherlock? Season fucking 4, they're like, nah, he's got 2 siblings. One of them was a dog or something that you didn't know about, and she was the woman. Why?
I really hate the dog, but let's stay on the sister for now. I think
It's episode 2.
I think the worst part is that they gave they revealed that there was this extra character, and you're like, okay, like, come on, there's one more episode left. Like, what are you doing? And I guess I don't want to go on the 3rd episode yet, but you get to the 3rd episode, and she ends up being super important, and you're at the stage where you're like, why are you introducing me now? Like, why can't Mary be the super important one? Like, why can't a character that we've developed all this time why can't that be the twist? Like, why are you introducing a new character in the 3rd act?
And also you've got a show that's built a bunch of really interesting, compelling characters. And what you do is you take the most interesting, compelling characters. I don't want to talk about it. I'm talking about episode 3. I won't. But no, I agree. And I think But I think the central mystery and the thrust of episode 2 is such a cool idea. And this is, I think, Moffat-itis at its greatest, where he has an amazing idea. Like, he has these amazing ideas, but his failure to execute holds him back every time.
Yeah.
Because this idea is brilliant. You've got this, like awesome serial killer who's, like, in the public eye. And he's, like, built this
and he's
hospital.
creepy as fuck.
And he's so
He's,
creepy.
like, the worst human being ever, and you hate his guts. And all these twists, and you think that, like,
But
you
the-
know,
and the- but the
you
way-
think Sherlock has him in the situation where it's just like, he's got this, like, he set it all up.
But
Sherlock's done the math,
at the
and then
same
it just
time-
fucks up, and you're like, oh my god.
And there's a part, I think the best part of this episode is at the same time, a lot of the fuck ups, you're like, is that because Sherlock is high? Like, did he imagine certain parts of this? What parts of this are real, what parts
Yeah.
of it aren't? And that introduction of the unreliable narrator makes the scene, one of my favorite scenes of all time in film or TV is in that episode where they're walking through the street at night, and she has the piece of paper that she wrote on
the memory, yeah.
that says he was gonna kill anyone or someone or whatever. And she's got the piece of paper, and Sherlock takes it off her, and he draws a pinboard in the air, and he puts it on her, and he moves the mirror, and he walks through. But the way that they cut it, where you go from his perspective to hers, and from his perspective, it's all there and it's real.
Yeah.
And you cut back to her, and there's nothing there, and he's just like talking at air, and then it
Yeah.
cuts. The way that they film that is like fucking stunningly beautiful.
Oh yeah, like the weird thing is that they started doing that with the special. The special
Yes.
has elements of that where they bring in this sort of alternate like AR stuff where they start splicing.
I feel like they did
scenes.
that though with. They started doing that at the end of season 2 and throughout 3 though, which is less. It was less
It
like.
was less like really just like in your face, like
Yeah.
we are drawing elements in the world.
It was much
kind of
more
thing.
things. One of the things they do in a really cool way is they manipulate, particularly in season 4, they manipulate the environment to reflect what's being talked about.
Yeah, and I guess they've always done technology well, sort of very House of Cards.
They just have the budget now to do it in a much more compelling way.
in a much larger way.
I mean, there are some moments, and the scene where he goes. So you know the way that they cut that sequence where he ends up back at the apartment.
yeah.
One of the coolest cuts I think of all time in any cinema ever is he's in the street talking to his drug dealer who's actually in his apartment. Or
Yeah.
whatever. And it pans around Sherlock's head, and a tapestry falls down.
Oh yeah,
Slides into place, and it's the wallpaper.
Yeah, it's the wallpaper. Yeah.
And I just saw that, and I was just like, that is stunning.
Actually, I think one of my favorite. If we're going to talk about favorite cuts, I think
Yeah.
it's in the 3rd episode where it's in this episode when it's a cut when they go from the TV station to the hospital. There's a shot from outside the car, and like they're talking to the guy through the window.
Yeah.
And they're about to go to the hospital, and it's like outside the window looking in, and there's a reflection in the mirror of a building. And you're like, okay, that's the building.
Yeah.
And then the window pans up, and it's a seamless cut, and with the reflection is the hospital.
Yeah.
And they just wind the window up, and it's just the camera it's like slowly zooming in, and it just pans up, and then there's just a cut. You're like,
Oh.
wait a minute, what?
A lot of the time when it happens, you're like, how do they do that?
You're like, yeah, how the
oh.
fuck did they pull that up?
There are moments in the show where I'm like, wow. And
Yeah.
the way that they film, like the whole thing,
There are some cuts that are like legitimately amazing, but there are some that are just like there are some cuts that are really wanky, and I'm like, Like, I think one of them, they did a really obnoxious, like, there were, like, two objects in the air, and they, like, sort of fade cut to Sherlock's eyes, and I'm like, that's not original at all. Like, wow, look, it's his eyes, and you're like, good job. Look, it's his nostrils. Like,
Yeah, no, I don't appreciate that. I don't think it's necessary.
I think
for a show like
there
this.
are like there are some cuts. This like the editing in general. Like some of it's amazing. Some of it is like yeah, okay, like you're trying too hard. Like
there was a lot of that where I was like, you tried it, but then I think it's worth it for when they do.
It's worth it for when it works. Yeah,
and because when it works, you're like, wow.
The last thing I like about episode 2 is I kind of liked how they handled Mary after she died.
Yeah,
Because to me, it was like, you know, like him, it sort of shows that, like, you know, John and Mary were so close that John's able to basically keep her alive in a sense. And not only does it, you know, he's not just like going crazy and being delusional, like she actually helps him.
yeah,
Like he actually gets better at deducing things and figuring things out because she's telling him.
yeah.
Because she was good at it.
Yeah.
So like he, you know, there's a really good scene, I think it's episode 3 where he's talking to Mycroft and she's standing next to him and he's like talking to him. He's just like, blah, 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 blah. And he says something in response. And then she's just like, he's lying. And then John immediately is just like, you're lying.
Yeah.
It's like, that is so cool because it's showing that like he's sort of using
that's his subconscious. Is
is like channeling her to like help him be better at like what she was because she wanted him to be like that because
Yes.
she was like I like Sherlock because he makes you a super spy and I'm
Basically.
also a spy. It's a great spy party.
Everyone's a
I
spy.
don't- Yeah.
Everyone has a secret sibling and a dog. Okay, let's get into episode 3. And
Fuck me, I
okay,
hated this
let me go.
episode so
Can I just
much.
go in?
Yeah,
Am I allowed to
just
just
go,
go in?
just
And
go.
I know that a lot of this
I
podcast
fucking hated
now
this
is
episode.
I just get to rant about stuff that I hate. But I want to say before I get into the stuff I hate, there was some good stuff.
I mean, I can't think of. Okay, no, there was. I really really enjoyed one good thing.
Yeah, tell me.
And that was the Moriarty scene.
Oh my
That-
god!
I
Dude,
lost
when
my
he was there-
shit.
Okay, here, let me say this.
I
let me,
lost my shit. They
that
held
scene.
They held that title. They held that 5 years ago for just the right amount of time
Oh,
to piss me off.
Fuck.
And like the
Dude,
music and
dude,
the entrance,
what
I was
the-
losing it. I was screaming. I was
But-
like, "You're kidding
But
me!
you know the
There's
problem?
No way!"
You know the problem with that is what they're doing is they're like, remember when the show was good? That's what that scene is. It's like, remember when we had a good villain?
I
And
know.
you're like, I do, I want him back.
It was-
And the music, and when
Well, no,
he's
'cause-
standing there and he's so cool.
Well, the weird thing with me was
Fuck.
in season 1 and 2, I thought Moriarty was cool. Like I liked him. In season 3,
He's an amazing villain.
in season 3, I was like, whatever. There was no Moriarty basically.
Yeah.
In season 3, and when they revealed at the end of season 3 that he was back, my first reaction was just like, I was like annoyed. I was like, come on, he's dead. But I guess like the special really drills this in as well, and like episode 1 to a degree, they really drill in the fact that it's like, no, he's dead. Like he's back, but he's dead. Like he's not alive. He's dead. He's back. Like that's sort of like what you get from the special,
right.
is that he's like, you know, Sherlock is like, how is he alive? He's like, he's not alive. He's back.
Yeah.
Like he had this plan to
He's
do
a
after he was
genius,
dead.
so he
Yeah.
doesn't need to be alive to execute a plan.
But like the payoff of him in episode 3, I was like, nah, you know what? I don't care. Like he's just like his entrance and like the music, like it was the kind of thing I realized was like, man, I do miss Moriarty.
And you know, it's funny because I'm about to go. I'm definitely gonna rewatch the first 2 seasons because I just love them so much. And one of the things that, and it's hard to explain why he's so good, but it's because it's a few things, and I think the scene exemplifies it well. It's style, but it's a different style to Sherlock because Sherlock has a
Sherlock
style.
has style, yeah.
And but his is a very different kind of style. They film him differently. He's so much fun.
Yeah.
Like, he's crazy, and you know what he's like?
He's
like,
a good Joker.
He's an amazing joker.
Yeah.
I was gonna say he's like that girlfriend that you have that is amazing in bed, but maybe might throw a knife at you.
Yeah, and
Like-
it's that like danger thing where all your friends are like, you should like, why you hang out with
You're
her?
like-
She's gonna kill her. You're like, no, but the sex, dude. The sex.
And you're like, there's a part about the danger that's so sexy too.
Yeah.
He's a sexy dude, and he's a sexy character, and and that scene, I was like, oh, good, and I was like, is he back?
Yeah,
Like,
I was legitimately, I was just like, I hope he's back.
Maybe I was like, there never was a sister. And it's
always
fucking
been
Rose,
him.
and
Yeah.
it's always been him, and more, and maybe I was like, maybe he's
No,
working.
you
I
know
was like,
what?
maybe he's working with the brother. Maybe he's working with Sherlock's
Yeah.
brother. You know what I mean?
Literally at the end of season 2, when the sister took her glasses off when she was the physiotherapist, I was half expecting her to like rip a mask
be
off and be Moriarty.
Right?
I was like, because she took the mask on. I was looking at the eyes and I was like, those eyes are like the eyes look like Moriarty.
it's gotta be
Maybe it's
Moriarty.
Moriarty in the face prosthetics. And I was so annoyed that it wasn't.
Secret sister we'd never heard of. Okay,
No,
so
you know what the worst part is
What?
that I was like, oh, maybe the show isn't ridiculous enough for prosthetics. Episode 3 has prosthetics on Mycroft. It's like, it could have been Moriarty.
I've never been so disappointed.
I mean,
Or I was like, maybe it's like his partner in crime.
yeah, I was like, maybe he has a
Maybe
twin.
it's like a
maybe
s-
everyone has twins.
Oh. Anyway, so that's all the good stuff.
that
I
was
think out of the
that's
way.
the best part of.
Okay, I'm taking
It's
the
probably
gloves.
the best part of the season, to be honest.
All right, here we go.
All right,
so
let's go in.
when you construct a narrative, you have to have what you call progressive complication. So
Yeah,
characters at the start of the story make reversible decisions. They choose not to reverse them, and then things get progressively worse, and the stakes get higher and higher until they make decisions that are irreversible and progressively more complicated.
yeah,
Basic example: Lord of the Rings. Frodo gets to Rivendell. He could go back home, but he doesn't. That's an irreversible decision
He's
when
like,
he finally
I'm
does
gonna
leave.
take the ring. You're like, ugh.
And then his next irreversible decision is when he gets on the boats, when he leaves everyone else behind and he goes with Sam.
Yeah.
That's another. So and there's a series of irreversible decisions that keep escalating until the most irreversible decision where he's like, we're gonna go into Mordor by ourselves, and that's what we're gonna do, and we're probably not gonna come back.
yeah,
Most irreversible decision there is, right?
Yeah.
And then the very end of the story, he makes the most irreversible
He's like,
decision.
"See
which
ya."
is He goes and dies in the Grey Havens or wherever.
yeah.
right?
He fucks off.
He fucks off. So that's like the progressive complication, just as an example. Basic storytelling. The biggest problem with this episode is that it opens with, kill this guy, or I'm going to kill his wife. And you're like, okay, sure. Which
He's
would
just
be-
like, I don't care about him.
but
like-
but you care about the fact that one of these characters is going to have to kill him. Like, you don't care about the guy, but you care about the fact that it's going to have to be Watson or Mycroft, right? Because Sherlock's not allowed to shoot.
Sherlock's not allowed to.
So what you've got is Watson, who you genuinely, you're like, if he kills some, you're like, Watson could, but I don't want him to. And you're
Yeah, because it'll
like-
ruin him.
You're like, I want Mycroft to, but I also don't care if he does. So really, the best choice is to have Watson take the gun and be like, I'm gonna do it, I'm gonna do
Yeah.
it, and then he can't do it, and then they both die. Which, by the way, don't have the guy kill himself because that's an irreversible decision immediately. Like you've got half an hour of build up to that, and then it's like, nope, he's just gonna kill himself. And you're like, okay.
great.
And that was when my brain was like, they can't. This is gonna be difficult because they're just gonna have to keep killing more people. Because once you kill 2 people, you know what's worse than killing 2 people? Killing 3 people.
yeah.
And so you know what they do in the next scene? They kill 3 people.
Like, oh my god. So that's actually the part where I realized this episode's dumb. Like, this episode has no purpose. Was that after the I Love You or before?
After.
After. I Love You was whatever, but...
No,
The-
whoa, hang on. Can I talk about that scene and why I love it? I know that I'm not allowed to like anything in
Sure,
this episode.
go on. Yeah, I didn't mind it. I thought it was...
I liked it because they reintroduced one of the best characters in the show, which is Molly Hooper.
Yeah,
that they
I
don't do
really
enough
like
with.
Molly.
And her relationship with
I
Sherlock.
just wish they gave more of a payoff instead
Well,
of just the fleeting,
you know what-
frame bit at the
Oh.
end where she runs into the apartment.
You know what would have been better than
What?
that is when instead of at the end when they jack their dicks off with Sherlock and Watson running around with the fucking over voice from Mary. Instead of that, resolve the Molly Hooper shit.
Yeah.
Have a confrontation where she comes to his apartment and she's like, so what the fuck was that? And he's like,
yeah.
he does a Sherlock thing where he tries to fob her off and then she goes in and she kisses him and then his phone goes off because it's Irene Adler and you have
Yeah,
like,
have a great old
conflict.
time.
Fucking god, that is one of the best scenes that he's written in years. That Molly Hooper scene, I know it's overwrought and it's in a weird context, whatever.
Yeah.
But the complex relationship of those characters that they built up over 3 seasons, and you know less because she's not really in the 4th season, but the way that they progressively complicate their relationship.
You know, it's a good scene where when you're given when you're told what does Sherlock have to do, your immediate reaction is, oh shit.
Yeah.
Like, when that's your immediate reaction to, he has to get her to say I love you, your immediate reaction is just like, dude, this isn't gonna work.
Amazing. And you know what? That threat of that moment is more important than the deaths.
Yeah.
That is good progressive complication. But the problem is that you just killed 3 people.
Yeah.
So from an objective morality standpoint, you can't be like, oh, Molly Hooper, because they're going to kill one person.
The thing that pissed me off about the killing the 3 people was it's such a... So this is a wild tangent, but... We play D&D. Anyone out there who's played D&D can probably associate with this. You have that one friend who is you kind of just keep him around because he's, I don't know, he provides alcohol, and like you're like, whatever, we're playing D&D, you want to come? They're like, all right, sure, and they roll a chaotic neutral character, and your
kill
immediate
everything.
reaction is like, oh,
Because they're just gonna murder
chaotic
everything.
neutral. It's like, what are you gonna? It's like you have two options: rape and pillage. It's like that's what I feel like. Her like the moment they did that, I was just like, oh my god, she's a newbie running a chaotic neutral halfling rogue in a D&D campaign,
Yep.
where she's like. She's the Harley Quinn from Suicide Squad.
Except she's also a wizard who can brain control people.
Yeah, and I was like, when she like
What?
killed the other two, I was like, oh, she's gonna kill the third one.
You know
like,
what's
my immediate reaction was like, she's killed two, she's gonna.
You know
do
what's
the
a better
third.
move? Is when you pick the guilty one and then she kills the guilty
She
one.
kills like that would be like,
Because you know what? At least she has rules.
yeah, like that would be a case of like, you know, he condemned the one, and like there was thing where it was like,
But
he's
you
like,
know
I
what's better?
condemned so and
You
so.
know what's better? He condemns the wrong guy. He
You know, it would be better if it just dropped all three of them at once. Even that would be
anything
better.
What they did
Because that would have
was-
just been a case of just like that would be like the thing from Spec Ops: The Line. We have the soldier and the guy who stole water, where it's like no matter who you choose, they both die.
Yeah.
Where you have this three, where it's just like, well, I condemn so and so, and then she's just like, good choice, and kills all of them. You like that would be somewhat interesting because then he would be like, why'd you do that? And she'd be like, I don't know, something slightly less dumb, maybe, but
what's,
still
what's,
stupid.
What's better is he picks the guy, she kills them, and she goes, gee, I wonder who did it. And you're like, oh.
Yeah, like if he was wrong,
what I mean?
maybe. Yeah.
But I just think,
But you know, Moffat wouldn't make him wrong.
Yeah. Here's okay. I want to talk more about the Molly scene because I think
All
it
right,
bears.
let's
I think
bounce back.
I just think it's worth talking about something good for a
Sure.
minute because it. Also, by the way, most of the episode is us trying to find good stuff in this show.
Yeah.
And it is. You know what? I will say this about this show. I want more of it because it is visually.
I want more, but the problem is
stunning.
they closed it off. And like, yeah, they could
No,
have
they
like,
didn't. They just reset. They just hit the reset button.
yeah,
They
but
were
it's
like-
it's the kind of thing where if they start again, we may get
I
a
want.
season one.
Yes,
That's the cool thing.
That's that, and you know what? That's what it feels like they did. They were like,
Yeah.
okay, let's
They're
close
like,
this
all right,
shit
it's
off.
gotten a bit ridiculous.
Mary's dead. You know, Molly and Sherlock are back to.
I'm
being in a
almost
weird
hoping
place.
that they show, if they do reboot, they have more of a sort of undertone of they keep finding more of Moriarty's things that he's set up. Like they keep
good.
coming across as like Moriarty's traps.
effectively. Oh,
Like if
fuck.
he's just set up all these games everywhere and they just keep coming across them, like, you know,
That's-
even if it's just like once a season for one episode where they go like,
think-
fuck, it's another Moriarty thing.
They might do some later Sherlock Holmes villains that are. I always think they're more interesting. In the books, at least, the later, you know, once Moriarty, because one of the best parts about the books is that once Moriarty dies, he goes over the Rhinebeck Falls or whatever, and he's dead.
yeah.
One of the best parts about the series is that when Sherlock rebuilds his life and he comes back, all
They're
the
like
villains after
copycats
that,
and stuff.
kind of, but he can't really deal anymore because
Right.
because Moriarty's dead. So he actually he has real trouble dealing with the world, and so it's up to
He's like,
Watson to keep him
really,
relatively
yeah, he's like
on track.
Batman and Joker. He has no purpose
Exactly.
anymore.
And
yeah.
so then he tries to seek out these villains, and sometimes it's just a criminal.
yeah.
Like, it's really, and it's a cool way of doing it. But I think one of the things about the last episode that I kind of really wanted to see was not. I mean, I don't mind hitting the reset switch because it means we might get some more episodic content rather than serialized.
Yeah.
But I think when you spend a whole season ignoring some of your best characters and you put them in the last episode, and you're like, okay, this is really important. The relationships between these people are really important. What we're going to do is we're going to challenge them and then never address it.
yeah.
And as I think it's you summed it up perfectly when you know that Molly Hooper scene. You say, "Oh shit,"
Yeah.
when you realize what he has to do. That somehow has more impact than any of the rest of the episodes.
Yeah. like,
When you find out he has a sister, you're never like, "Oh shit." When you find out that his dog was a kid, you're like, "Eh, whatever."
yeah, that for me was like,
But the
fuck off.
at the
Like,
moment, also dogs are not kids.
yeah, like
Um,
his dog was just his best friend. You're like, come on.
Also, dogs are not kids. And
For me,
if she drowned him, wouldn't you check the well? Wouldn't that
the
be the
annoying
first thing you
part for
check?
me was that it was like, there were like so many micro twists where it was just like, he has a sister, and you're like, no one cares. And he was like, he had a dog, and you're like, no one cares. He was like, the
Yeah.
dog was a person. You're like, no one cares.
Well, it comes back to that thing we talked about before, where a good mystery is when you have all the pieces seated, and then
the
you
girl
can,
on the plane didn't really
and-
exist. No
and-
one
and
cares.
it's surprising, but it's inevitable. And this was surprising, but there was no way that it felt inevitable in any way.
Yeah, it's
'Cause
just
none
like,
of the twists were
woo.
seated. It was like surprise, 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 surprise. And what it seemed like what they tried to do is they tried to cover up the lack
As
of seeding
many
with as
holes,
many
yeah.
surprises as they could. It's because usually what you do in a really good mystery is everything is in the start.
Yeah.
But what they had is they were like, shit, we need to invent a sister after
They
4
kept
seasons.
adding, yeah.
So like, what if the dog was in a well and they couldn't find it? Then what if the dog was a boy? And then what if
Dog
the
was a
boy was in the
kid.
well? And then what if the graves weren't real graves? They were props and they were an art installation. And what if the graves was how he worked out where John
Well,
Watson
Graves
was? And
was a
then what if he
cipher.
saved John Watson and then he threw a rod to him even though John Watson's leg is still chained up?
Yeah,
How did he get
I
out of the
fucking
chain?
hated that
How did he
so
get out of
much.
the chain?
I hated that so much.
You know what I mean?
He throws a rope. My immediate reaction was just like, what the fuck is he gonna do with that?
And then they were like, but what if she's not in a plane? What if she's actually in upstairs and needs a hug?
Woo! Problem solved.
Ben just made the most like the fuck gesture in the world. But like, you see what I mean? Like the fact that I can say those are all twists.
Yeah.
You know what? Okay, in the first episode,
My favorite twist of the whole of that
What?
was when when I was watching this, this is my immediate reaction was when Sherlock Holmes Hunger Games did.
When was that?
So when he's where she's like, oh, you have to kill one of your friends, and he's like, no, I'm gonna kill myself, and they're like, no.
Yeah,
He Hunger Games it.
right. He did.
He pulled the
That's
Hunger
exactly
Games.
what that
It's
was.
exactly he Hunger Games it. He broke the rules. I was like, that's so dumb. The little pew pew, we're gonna put you to sleep and then just take you like Hunger Games.
and I get it. 'cause
Problem solved. Just kill
And you know
yourself.
what? I get it because she just needed Sherlock's love. I get it because everyone loves Sherlock. But
Everyone loves Sherlock.
you know what the twist in episode 1 of the first season was?
No.
No, because there wasn't one. 'Cause it was a good story.
I thought there was a twist. I just forgotten.
The only twist of that is that
That surprise. The show was
no,
good.
the only twist of that, and the only twist is that the cabbie was making people kill themselves. That's the only twist.
Yeah.
But it's not a twist.
It's not a
because
twist.
all the evidence
That's the
is
mystery.
there.
Yeah. That was
Part
the
of the mystery. They didn't just
Yeah.
fucking make it up.
That
So-
wasn't a twist. That was like, how is he making them kill themselves? And he's like, I say this one thing, and you're like, that's crazy.
Look.
He just Princess Bride them.
Yeah. Which, by the way, great premise for a fucking episode.
Yeah, it's pretty funny
And so
because
you
it's
know,
super tongue in cheek.
I mean, I feel like I feel like you just made the point for me. Like,
Yeah.
right? Like that's exactly the problem with this season is that, and maybe they just need to hit the reset switch. And don't get me wrong, I like the idea of putting Sherlock Holmes in a bunch of challenge rooms. I like that. I think that's a cool idea.
Oh, I hated it. I was like, what is this,
Conceptu-
Saw?
I mean, conceptually.
I mean, yeah, I think
Conceptually.
conceptually it's cool. I think just the context of it basically being like a
execution.
talk. Yeah, all of the killing was like
The best
it felt
part
too
of
much. It felt more like Saw than like an actual because Sherlock gets put in gauntlets sometimes when someone like especially when like
they're not killer guy gauntlets. They're
No.
actual genuine like you know
well, like the time when the army guy has like the where he's wearing the belt and it's
Yeah.
like don't take off the belt and he's like then solve the case. Like that's a cool gauntlet because
Yeah.
that's Sherlock Holmes like solve the case or else I'm gonna kill myself because of pride and whatever. And he's like and he figures it out.
Even the rooftop with Moriarty. That's a
Yeah.
great fucking gauntlet because you're like, how is he gonna do this?
Do we know? We don't actually know how he lived that.
You don't know, but
He
Moffat
yeah.
has been like, it was a mattress thing.
oh, it was the mattress thing.
Because
Because he tells that to the theorist,
there's
and
like-
he's
there's
just like, "No one's gonna believe me,"
there's like-
and then he's like, "Oh wait,
there's
yeah,
like
no one's gonna
100
believe me."
explanations in the actual episode.
My
but-
favorite is the fan fiction one.
Yeah.
The one where they make out.
So good.
Oh, so funny. I was laughing so hard.
There's also part of everyone that's like, I want that to happen.
Yeah, there's like a little part. It was just like,
Yeah.
yeah, that would be funny.
That would be great.
Like that'd be great.
Yeah, no. So I think really what I want to see is from the next season, if they do have a next one, is
Are they confirmed for next season?
no, they haven't said anything.
Yeah.
I really want if they are going to hit the reset button, go back to what makes it good, do episodic content with serialized seeds,
Yeah.
and then do what they did in season 1. Make the last sort of like the last portion of
The last bit of each
se-
season be like a
address
really
the-
big
the
yeah.
tie together. And, you
have
know
a-
what? Moffat is good at that. Season 5.
Yeah,
of
like
Doctor
I don't
Who
really
is amazing.
mind the wanky cliffhangers because like all of them are just it's the kind of thing where you're like, well, the character's not going to be dead. Like at the end of season 3 where he gets shot and you're like, oh, he got shot, but it was a tranquilizer bullet. You're like, it's not how guns work, but
That
okay.
was an actual. He just killed him. He's
No,
dead.
what John
The
Watson?
guy. Oh, you mean Watson?
This physiotherapist,
Physio.
the psychotherapist.
Oh, right.
The psychologist.
sister, you mean.
Yeah, the sister. She shoots him.
Oh,
But it's
you meant the end of episode 2. You said the end of season 3. The end of season 3 is when Sherlock shoots a guy in the
Oh
head.
yeah, I forgot that every episode of season 4 except the last one has a cliffhanger.
Yeah.
Um,
I mean, even the last one, like, only has a cliffhanger because they didn't do a proper resolution.
yeah,
before,
yeah. Good point. You're just like,
and
it's not really a
it's just bad
cliffhanger. It's more
writing.
just like being blue balled.
Ugh.
Like you
And-
get right up to coming, and then they're just like, "All right, good night." And you're like, mm.
She's such a good character, and she's so well written, and she's so interesting, and they
She is really cool.
and like I'm gonna. I mean, we have to stop because what we've just done is whinge. But like, I think. Well, no, it's not true. I think what we've done is we found the bits that we like.
Which is
And-
more than most other
more than I-
complainy episodes.
It's more than I thought we'd get to.
Yeah.
Because there is stuff in this I love.
There are elements that are really cool.
And I want more of.
More
season
of
one.
that,
So I'm
yeah.
gonna rewatch it.
It's the kind of thing
know?
where it's just like, if the season would be overall better if it had even slightly less of the good stuff, but the rest of it wasn't garbage.
Yes.
It's the kind of thing where if the season was just like very average, but it had those peaks of really cool things, I would be like, that's a great season.
Yeah, because that was what season 2 was.
That's what pretty much all the seasons were.
The way
Except
that
fourth one.
the way that mystery unfolded.
Yeah.
In season 2, and you were like, oh, and Moriarty sees, and you get this like, oh, he was seeding in season 1, and like the tie-throughs of how it all worked was so well done.
Yeah.
And then, but the reason that worked is that each episode there was a contained narrative that they told well
Yeah.
and tied into.
And
the
it
rest.
wasn't like it was always just a good mystery.
Yeah.
It was always just like, you'd look at the title of the episode, it'd be something ridiculous, and you think, what the fuck?
And then the way that Sherlock solved it, as we've said, it's always surprising, but it's
Yeah,
inevitable.
it's always cool.
And you have a fun time, and
Yeah.
I just want more of that because I have a lot of fun with this show.
And
I
it's
just
it's why I didn't mind the fact that all the episodes were an hour and a half, because it meant that they could actually
it gives them room to breathe.
yeah, like I would think back and be like, oh, it wasn't like, I would think back to like an episode where they had like sort of quite a lot going on, and I'd think like, no, that was one episode. Like
Yeah.
that was just a really good one episode.
Very good, complex episode.
Yeah.
And I think it's why Moffat's been doing a lot of two-parters in Doctor Who lately, and they are by and large better
Probably because
because of Sherlock. And
the room to
'cause
breathe.
He's got a bit better at writing those longer form things, but now we're getting to the point where I think there's enough studio pressure to be like
to be serialized
to end,
and
yeah,
have
instead
this
of episodic.
long wind story, yeah.
which I don't mind, but I think for Sherlock it doesn't work if it's
It doesn't
too
need to be
overdone.
it can't be front and center.
No, it has to be. Again, it has to just be seated. And I
Maybe
think
front and center for like the season finale.
yeah, but you need to give
that's
us at
where
least
it fits. You need to give us some fun times
solid
before you
fun
kick us
mystery.
in the dick.
yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
I think that's a good place to end. Where can people find us, Ben?
Twitter, DCM_works.
Yep.
Facebook, DCM works social.
Yep,
YouTube, DCM works.
you got him. It's youtube.com/DCMworks.
Hey,
you got 'em.
Redbubble.com/people/DCM
Oh, yeah.
works.
Oh, that's a good one. You buy a t-shirt if
Yeah.
you want, or not.
Patreon.com/DCM works.
Yep, you got them all. Those are the
Cross
plugs.
a buck.
Or don't. Whatever. It's fine. I'm at DCM. Hey, bye.
Literal citrus.
I'll see you guys next week.
Well, here we are at last. You and me, Sherlock. And our problem, the final problem. Staying alive! It's so boring, isn't it? It's just staying. All my life I've been searching for distractions. You were the best distraction, and now I don't even have you. Because I've beaten you. And you know what? In the end, it was easy. It was easy. Now I got to go back to playing with the ordinary people. And it turns out you're ordinary, just like all of them. Oh, well. Did you almost start to wonder if I was real? Did I nearly get you?
Richard Brooke.
Nobody seems to get the joke. But you do.
Of course.
Attaboy.
Richard Brooke in German is Reichenbach. The case that made my name.
Just trying to have some fun.